Hello there, friends. My name's Carl Zipper. I do the Backwoods Engineering programs here at Mount Alamucci Scout Reservation in Byram, New Jersey. I'm here today to talk to you all about the monkey's fist, one of my favorite decorative knots. This is a monkey's fist. Back in olden times, when people used to sail on big ships with big sails, they would usually keep a smaller monkey's fist than this one on hand that they could tie onto the end of a rope if they needed to use a heaving line or something of that nature. Nowadays, not many of us sail on old-timey wooden ships, but a lot of us do have keychains or pocket knives, and the monkey's fist is a great knot to tie to make yourself a keychain or a little lanyard for the end of your Swiss Army knife. So I'll show you how to do that today. First things first, what do we need to tie a monkey's fist? We need a piece of rope. You can use parachute cord, about 3 or 4 foot long. You can use braided nylon utility cord. You can buy something like this at most big box stores or at a hardware store. Or if you go to the beach, maybe you'll be lucky enough to find some of this stuff. This is my favorite rope for making a monkey's fist. The commercial fishermen use it on their crab pots. It's a braided polypropylene with a hollow core. What's nice about this stuff is you can open it up with a little pricker, push the rope back in, and get a nice splice on the end without doing any work or knowing how to do it. So, to tie the monkey's fist, you also need something to tie the knot around. If it's going to have a good, nice shape, it needs to be around some sort of small round or cube-shaped object. One of the best things to use is a marble, a glass marble. You can use a round wooden bead. If you don't have those things, you can find an acorn on the ground or maybe even a round pebble. All will work. If you want to make one bigger, this one's tied around a tennis ball or a baseball would work. And if you want to make a really big one, you can use a basketball. But let's work with the little one. Again, it's 3 or 4 feet long. You need more when you're tying it because you start with the knot loose, and then as you tighten it up, you're going to wind up with a lot of extra at the end. The monkey's fist is an easy knot to tie, but it does require some patience. The secret is just go nice and slow. You tie the entire knot loose, and then you have to go back and tighten it up when you're all done. The tightening it up, is what actually takes the most time. When you're tying a monkey's fist, you tie it around your hands. What you do, you take your fingers, you make like a peace sign, and then you grab one end of your rope, you pinch it with your thumb, and you wrap around 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Keep coming up, you fold over your hand like this, and then you wrap around in between the fingers that make your peace sign. 1 time, 2 times, and 3 times. And it's important that you keep everything loose and that you keep everything neat and tidy. You don't want the ropes crossing over each other, you just want them laying nicely side by side. Now once you've done that 3 times, you take the rope, you push it right on through. Now here's the tricky part that requires a little bit of dexterity. You now have to take all this off of your hand without having it all fall apart. And this is when it's time to take your marble or whatever other round object you have and insert it into the middle. Let's push that on in there. There we go. There we go. Nice. Now you take your remaining rope and you wrap around 3 more times down right through where your fingers were a moment ago. 1 time, 2 times, and that is the 3rd time. And look at that, just enough rope. Now if you have done it right, you now have a complete monkey's fist. The thing is just loose. Now you have to tighten it up. To tighten it up, what you do is you start with one end of your rope. I usually like to start with the end that was pinched by my thumb when I first started off. You can see it right here. What you do is you just slowly work through the rope, pulling all the slack out. Just go through in the exact order that you wrapped around when you were tying it. Work all the slack out. Don't try and work all the slack out at once. You'll have a much easier time if you go through once to get it pretty tight, and then go through a second time for a final tightening. Let's see here. Bear with me here while I just work it all the way around. And you can see all the slack that's coming out of here. You know, this is a knot where you tie, you use quite a bit of rope to tie it, but once it's tight, you wind up having a lot left over. Unfortunately, there's not really any way around that. Again, you know, I'm just pulling the slack out. I'm not really making the knot tight yet. All I'm doing is getting everything sort of snug, you know, snug but not tight. A little bit more, almost there. Okay, I have to tuck this through one more time because I ran a little bit short. There it is. Another good reason to leave everything loose until the very end. Okay, work all that slack through. Okay, here we go. So now it's pretty tight, but it still looks a little bit crummy, right? I mean, I certainly think it does. So now we have to go back around one more time, just like we did, and get it fully tight. What I like to do is, you can still see the very end of the rope here, where I started. When I go back and do my final tightening, I like to sneak this into the middle of the knot, so that when we're all done, it's hidden, and you can't see it. It just makes everything look a little bit cleaner. So now, just like before, I'm going to work around, and I'm going to tighten it. I always tie this knot around a round object like a marble. Some folks prefer to tie it around a cube-shaped object. They say that that will give you a slightly better look when you're done. And I've done it that way once or twice, and they're probably right. Probably is slightly better looking. But I also have an awful lot of marbles and wooden beads, so I stick with what I have. Alright. Getting close here. Okay, and there we go. That's it. If I wanted to, I could probably even go around a third time and tighten it up just a little bit more. But I'm pretty happy with this as it sits. You can see, if you've done it right, you have 3 strands on each side of the knot. You don't want to have 4 anywhere, and you don't want to have 2 anywhere. That looks sloppy. And you shouldn't be able to see the marble or whatever else it is that you tied this knot around. Last thing you can do now, if you want to make a keychain, get yourself a metal keyring, and you can attach it to the end. There's the end that's sticking out of the knot. There's a lot of different ways you can attach it. The way I like to do it is I like to make what's called a lark's head knot using the tail of the rope. A lark's head is pretty easy. They use it a lot in climbing. You also use it when you're putting up a bear bag. To make it, fold the rope, fold the tail of your monkey's fist knot in half, fold it over on itself, like this. So now you've got a little, I don't know what it's shaped like, but it's shaped like something. and then fold it back in together like this. Now you can see I can put my finger in here, it'll tighten up on my finger. I can also get my metal keyring, open it up a little bit, slip it in around the lark's head, tighten it up, and now the only thing you have left to do is tie a little knot here so your lark's head can't slip out. And there we go, you've got a pretty nice keyring. You know, there's all sorts of different ways you can attach the ring on the end. You could cut this rope shorter and have a shorter keyring. You could do some macrame or some braiding or something. You know, you could, if you were using a 3-strand rope, you could eye-splice it in. But that's all, frankly, beyond the purview of this video. So that's how to make a monkey's fist keychain. Some of you folks are probably asking, you know, Carl, forget that. You know, I don't like little stuff. I like big stuff. How do I make a big monkey's fist? I need to heave some lines on my sailing ship, you know. If you want to make one about this size, I made this a few years ago to use for heaving. It works pretty well. Good for getting a rope up in a tree for a bear bag. Good for getting a rope across a stream if you're building a monkey bridge. Good for sailing on your old-time sailing ship if you have one. You know, if you want to make this one, make it around a tennis ball or a baseball. You need about 45 feet of rope when you're starting out. And obviously you can't make it around your fingers. But what you probably do have is you probably have a bicycle, and that bicycle probably has a water bottle holder bolted to the down tube. You can unbolt that, you can take your baseball, you can stick it in there, and you can use this like a substitute set of fingers to tie your monkey's fist around. It works pretty well, but obviously it takes a bit longer. Like I said, to make one around a baseball, I'm using 1/4-inch rope, got 45 feet of rope, a bicycle water bottle holder, and you need to wrap around 7 times on each side of the knot instead of 3. But other than that, it's the same as I showed you. I hope this all proved interesting for you. You know, I hope that you can follow along and maybe make one of your own. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks.